And your exceptionally generous propinas. Am I right?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you again for being here. And our first three storytellers who were exceptional. My heart is warm. I love that you are courageous enough to craft and tell these stories. Have a seat. I want to introduce our fourth of six storytellers. She's been here for a couple years. She spent, I think, quite a number of years up in San Miguel. She's a pretty badass artist, but she's not here to do that with you this evening. She's going to tell a story. Please welcome to the stage, Susan.
So, my husband Mark and I have just arrived in Nuevo Vallarta. We have 2 free weeks at a friend's condo right on the beach, and all we want to do is get in the water. So we arrive at the condo, we unpack our suitcase, we put on our bathing suits, grab our towels, and get ready to jump in the ocean. We don't even set foot in the sand when a guy comes up to us because he wants to sell us a timeshare condo, of course. And we're like, no way. There's the ocean, we can see the water, and it's just so beautiful. And we're walking down the beach, and here comes this woman, and she's got an armload of baskets she wants to sell us. And we're like, no, no, no. And all of a sudden, I look out on the beach, and there's vendors everywhere, and they're coming at us like a magnet. And there are people selling souvenirs and God knows what, T-shirts, and adventure cruises, and we're saying, no, 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 gracias. We're wagging our hands, and we're saying, no, we do not want to zip line through the jungle. I don't want to be strapped to a harness behind a parachute, and I definitely do not want to have my photograph taken being kissed by a captive dolphin. Did you know that's the thing? No. Anyway, I didn't even know where Nuevo Vallarta was a few days ago, but it turns out it's not really a place. I mean, there's no town there. It's just basically a string of resorts north of Puerto Vallarta on this beautiful beach. And it's visited by thousands and thousands of tourists, mainly from the US and Canada, every winter for the sole purpose of staying warm and being entertained. Well, we are not those people, but here we are. Anyway, I'm getting really tired of this, and here's this guy, and he's got this jewelry box in my face, and I'm saying no, and I try to explain to him that we're not tourists. We live in Mexico, and I'm telling him in Spanish that, we are not them. Don't you get it? And he looks at me, and he kind of blinks, and he goes, and he holds up these 2 plastic necklaces, and he goes, hey, amiga, these are real opals. I'll sell them to you, 2 por 1. So by the 3rd day, Mark comes back after a walk on the beach, and he's looking kind of sheepish. And he hands me 2 tickets to a whale watching cruise. Are you fucking kidding me? He said. And he goes, listen, he goes, they were really cheap, and who knows, it could be fun. So the next day, we're climbing into a taxi, and we go down to Puerto Vallarta, to the marina where our boat is supposed to take off from. I don't know if you've been there. We get to the marina, it's like Disneyland. There are boats of all shapes and sizes and themes, and there are people swarming around and getting into lines everywhere. There's the pirate boat. There are fishing boats. There's fancy yachts and catamarans, and there's like 30 people lined up to get onto this little double-decker boat called the Booze Cruise. We're totally lost and overwhelmed, and finally we find our boat, and it's like way down at the end of this dock, and it's this kind of shabby little motorboat called the Geronimo. There's a crew of 4, none of them look a day over 17, and there's about 12 of us passengers, and I can tell right away that this is a cruise for the budget-minded, you know, the kind that can't resist the 2 por 1 deal. So we get on board, and we find our places on these kind of little blue cushions on the deck, and the engine sputters and starts, we get the waft of diesel fumes, and off we go into the open sea for the promise of whales and a visit to an island and snorkeling and an all-you-can-drink open bar. So here we go. We're going, and we're about 20 minutes into it, and we can see other boats, and we can see whales in the distance, and we can see these plumes coming up, but we're never quite getting close enough to the whales to even really take a picture. And finally we arrive at this rock, and it's called Marietta Island. The boat throws an anchor, and they hand us this snorkeling gear. It's kind of well-used snorkeling gear, and so we all put on these masks and these snorkels, and we all have these kind of bright neon yellow flippers, and we waddle off the boat like a bunch of ducklings into the water. Some people have no experience at all. And we're swimming around, and so Mark and I, we swim towards these rocks, and we're looking down, and sure enough, there's these beautiful fish, and there's some schools of fish, and it's quiet, and it's warm, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, I get it. It's a moment. We're gonna hear the sound in the distance. The sound of a motor, and it's coming closer and closer. It's getting louder. And as it gets closer, I can hear this boom, 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 this disco beat. And I look up, and it's the booze cruise. And they're coming at us. They pull right in front of us. They drop anchor, and as they're coming towards us, I can see people bumping and grinding. I mean, their open bar started the minute they left the marina. Pulls right in front of us. Everybody's, hooping and hollering, and they jump off the boat into the water. All our fish swim away. And we board the Geronimo, where the crew has prepared us a nice little lunch and have opened up the all-you-can-drink bar. So we leave the island, and we have a couple watery margaritas, and we have a mojito, another mojito, a few pina coladas. We're getting kind of loose, and there's a boom box that's kind of duct taped to the bar, and they put on some music, and so we're like swaying a little bit, and I'm thinking, okay, this is what's happening, and then the crew starts to kind of lead us onto this little dance floor in the middle of the boat, and this song comes on, and then before I know it, we do the unthinkable. I mean, I've heard of the Macarena, but I had never wanted to do it in my life because it looks stupid. But it's not that hard. I mean, we learning the moves, and the crew's teaching us all the moves to the Macarena. We're kind of getting in the groove, and I feel like I've finally got this thing down. And then suddenly, the engine stops, the music stops, and it's totally quiet. And then we hear the sound, and it's like a whoosh, like the air being let out of an enormous tire. We look over, and this large, dark hump is coming up out of the water right next to the boat. And so we rush over the railings to take a look, and this enormous tail comes up out of the water. And we're like, oh my God, we're just all in awe of this thing. And then the tail kind of sinks back into the water, and it's quiet. All you can hear are it's the water lapping at the boat. And we're all just kind of waiting, and all of a sudden the entire goddamn whale comes up and out of the water and breaches and then just crashes back into the water. And we're like, wow, and people start to clap like they're at SeaWorld or something. And then all the crew starts going, ultra, ultra, ultra. What? And all of a sudden, like 20 yards out, the whale comes up again and breaches and crashes. And we're like, wow. And I hear somebody say, this is so worth it. And I'm thinking, yeah, she's right, because all the frustrations and all the, all the difficulty I've had, these past few days, this perfect, wonderful moment has made it all worth it. So we get back to the harbor, and all the other boats have arrived, and everybody's just so excited. You can tell they've all had a good time. There's, people are taking pictures of their trophy marlins, and they've got other people have their arms around these guys dressed in pirate suits, and they're staggering off the booze cruise, and there's this like faint smell of vomit coming from the boat. And we head towards the exit. But here they come. They're waving their wares, and they're shouting, "Barato and compra," and the vendors are coming at us. And they're surrounding us like we're some kind of prey. And they're just holding up their stuff and going, oh my God. And then this guy holds up this T-shirt, and I kind of look at it. It's right in front of my face, and I see there's this picture of this whale. I gotta have it. So I buy two, one for me and one for Mark. And then I look over and I go to give him his T-shirt, and he's really busy because he's haggling with this jewelry guy because he's buying me these really cute dolphin earrings. And then we both, oh, that's so cute. And then we, say, hey, we really could use one of those hammocks. So we get one, and then and then we're all like excited and buying all this stuff. So finally, we end up at the curb, waiting for the taxi, climbing into a taxi, and I look across the street, and there's this girl, and she was our crew member. She's the one that got me to dance the Macarena, and so I wave at her. She's getting onto this little bike to go home, and I wave, but she doesn't see me. And I start thinking, she has to come back here tomorrow and do this again, and the day after that, and the day after that. And maybe I should feel kind of ashamed, maybe a little bit embarrassed. But the thing is, I don't. You know what I'm thinking about? I'm thinking about this Dos por Uno happy hour at this karaoke bar I saw down the beach from our condo. And how, we're probably going to get back just in time to check it out. I mean, it could be fun.